then you can build more and more collection. And as that collection builds, the impulsion builds. You don't have to then get out your spurs. So the thing about this system, Jean Claude Racinet's system of teaching about Francois Bochet's method of riding, there's a good long name for you, is that in the beginning, it's very technical. The riders have to learn about fixed hands, not pulling, and you have to have a decent seat. You have to be able to talk to your horse through your seat a bit. But it's just, getting the details right in the beginning is maybe a little hard. But it gets easier and easier and easier as you get to the quote-unquote hard stuff. So instead of trying to get a piaffe in the end of your training and having to use the curb bit and spurs, you don't have to. The horse he'll offer it up in a few weeks, probably, or a month. He'll offer up the piaffe. I know how to do this. I feel really good. My energy's building, and witty, I can do it instead of, come on. Did you notice I don't even have a whip in my hand? Okay? I had to cluck a little bit. But that's all because, this horse was nicely prepared in the jaw. He has a nice jaw. He understands yielding to the bit. And that's all that we needed as a prerequisite. Calm mind and muscular body. That's it. Okay, thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
We've been talking on the side. Could you give us your explanation of the difference between collection and contact? Is that too hard?
No.
Okay.
No. So you can have, I don't think you can have a horse collected unless the horse is in self-carriage. Okay? You can haul a horse together with some degree of contact and some degree of bits in their mouth. But I would not call it collection unless the horse is in self-carriage, which means that he could be in very, very light contact. He could be in a looped rein at advanced levels, because by then he's answering your seat completely. He understands what's being asked of him, and you could collect him with your reins looped. You could just grow tall in your saddle, and your horse could come into the collection we just saw. So contact, it's a way of communicating with your horse until you don't need it anymore. It should be that you can have less contact as your horse gets more trained. And you're aiming for that self-carriage. You can't have self-carriage on a strong contact. So, did that answer?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Any?
Like a standard bred off the track that has really been trained to, driven to the bit all the time, and re-educate them with this so that they
Yes.
can become that light, even though they may have a fairly hard mouth at that point?
The hard mouth is the horse defending himself. He's learned that the best way to stop the pain is to lean into it, make it solid in his mouth so that, at least it's not jerking on him or something. And yes, you can definitely retrain that horse and any other horse. The horses that are hardest to retrain are the ones that have been punished in some way or feel that they've been punished, so that their minds are fearful and they either have shut down to avoid all further contact with humans, or they have